Hello everyone, hope you're good. Welcome to another live. Friday again. Absolutely crazy to think that it is already Friday. So hi everyone. We're going to talk random stuff. There's nothing really planned for this one other than the obvious title. Are we going to go to 40k? Maybe, who knows. Altcoins look pretty good. I can verify that. And Cardano just doesn't give a shit and just carries on going. We'll talk about that as well. So yeah, let me know where you're from. Let me know what you're doing. All kinds of good stuff. If you've invested in anything over the last week, obviously if you've been buying said dips, because there's quite a few dips. Well, there has been, as you can see by the screen. But there's also been some mega cataclysmic pumps over the last 7 days as well on the Bitcoin chart. But yeah, all is good. And yeah, slap on a like. If you're new to the channel, subscribe as well. And yeah, it's great to see you. So let me know what's happening. Anyways, shall we talk about Bitcoin? I think we should. I think it's the main element of this situation, of why we are getting a situation as well, which could become quite favorable for altcoinies, which is cool. And yeah, smart contract coming for Cardano apparently. Don't know much about it though. I've just kind of given up watching the news at the minute because it's so frantic. We'll talk about the news in a minute because it's crazy, absolutely crazy. But we're talking about pullbacks. Obviously, that's Ethereum on the weekly time frame. Quite an aggressive one, I know. Big whopper of a candle. $2,000 rejection, and then all the way back down to 1,400 pretty much, which is crazy. Actually, went even lower than that too. 13,500. Unbelievable, isn't it? So yeah, hi everyone. Slap that like button. Let's get as many people on here. People are asking about B Pro. Never heard of it until about 2 days ago, and then everything went crazy. Don't know. Never ever heard of it. RSR is disappointing. How is it disappointing? I'm going to explain something that's pretty cool about RSR in a minute. You've probably missed the news. Pretty cool. But yeah, wait for a few more people to jump on. But in terms of Bitcoin, obviously technical analysis is pretty subjective. This level, if this breaks, this level here, which it's holding on to, I think we're going to go down to 40k. I know, I said it. I think 40k is the nicest possible scenario. And if it is slow, sluggish, boring, and it is a bit sidewaysy, I think we'll be alright. I think the altcoins will have their day, their alt season in March, essentially. A full-on run. That's what I'm thinking. But that's my overall opinion on it anyways. I think that's kind of what I'm expecting as well. We're already seeing dynamic shift in the altcoins at the minute when we're looking at the chart. It's quite cool. But yeah, I'll have a little look in a minute. Bitcoin is going down. Do you put your money into altcoins? Then fiat? No. So when Bitcoin's going down, I don't do anything. Bitcoin's Bitcoin, Satoshi's are Satoshi. It doesn't matter. I don't look at USD prices. So when dominance is high, I'm buying altcoins. Dominance is low, I'm taking profit into Bitcoin. Simple. Simple. That's how I do it. Keeps it nice and simple. But no, don't sell your coins in a bull market. A correction's a correction. You're not a trader, you're an investor. You always buy the dips. Buy the dips, sell the rips, right? Simple as that, and we'll explain that in more detail in a bit. Guys, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit the bell button, like and comment, and also like the video. But we're talking about USD prices. The only thing that is USD valued is Bitcoin, right? When you put in Google, when you do a certain thing, like I explained this last time, a lot of people want to see this as well because I tweeted about it. Not many people are understanding this, but if you put in any value of a coin, so let's just say, if we look at, say, Polkadot, right? If we just copy this and put it into Google in Bitcoin, in USD, sorry, right? So essentially, what we're looking at here is how much in terms of, I'm on the wrong site here, I don't know what I'm doing. Ignore me. There we go. Convert BTC to USD, right? So if we're looking at a certain amount there, and what the conversion actually is it going to work? It's not going to work, is it? Why has it been a dick? It's been a dick, man. We'll try again. It might work now. Bear with, because I need to show you this. It works. So, Bitcoin to USD. There we go. That's the price of Polkadot right now. $31.20. So, yeah, I know. Remove the B. Silly. But the fundamentals are simple. When the Bitcoin price is at price, the Satoshis are all there, right? All your Satoshis are worth that much. It doesn't matter who you are, what you are, how much of a trader you are. If you're trading in just US dollars and Bitcoin goes mental and the dominance goes shooting to the moon, you're going to be losing these. These are just going to be going down. That's the graph of it, right? Not many people get it. You know, everyone's like, oh, USD, but all these centralized companies like CoinMarketCap, for example, are literally all dominant on USD, which doesn't make sense. Because when I first started the world of Bitcoin and investing, Tether wasn't a thing. You know, you went on to Poloniex, you went on to Bittrex, it was all BTC pair. So I've kind of just stuck with it essentially. And those magical 8 digits, my friend. Question. I've got loads of questions. Ride the wave. I like my hair. Can't see my hair, man. It's all got. I've got hair. Trust me. I've got hair. I'm not bald yet. Maybe in a few years. When you convert from altcoins to Bitcoin, what level of dominance do you think is alarming? It's, for me, it's subjective. It's also as and when and how much money I've made, essentially. So it's accumulation game. It's a big, massive game of hungry hippos Bitcoin, isn't it? It's like, get as many as you can. The way I get it, obviously buy in very, very early, but also accumulation for altcoins is fun. You know, that's all I do. So when we start looking at certain things, it's quite fun. But when we start thinking, well, I converted a lot of my, well, not a lot, but a good 20-30% of my BTC stash into altcoins when it was like 70% dominance, I've made my portfolio's worth a lot more than it was. So when we look back in time and we think, well, me buying, you know, Polkadot, it's up a lot more than when I bought it. You know, even the likes of RSR, for example, it's kind of break even, but the fundamentals are, if you were buying altcoins when the dominance was high, it's up here. It's now worth a lot less. So you've got to be careful with when you buy. That's why I set certain levels and entries. Like Zilica, for example, I was buying in May. Where was it? Yeah, May time. So down here, this sort of time. 79 sats. Went a lot higher, went over 300 at one point. It's pretty cool, right? That's how I just... I know I'm kind of dwarfing everything, but everything goes mental. Is it dumb enough to open... Is it dumb enough? I don't know. Is it dumb to open leverage trades? Leverage trades are... I've got a really irritating itch. It depends on how you go about it. I personally don't. For me, I make enough money on the spot exchange. Literally buy in and hold in and rinse, repeat. But if you're looking to build equity, I wouldn't use leverage because you don't know. If you don't know what you're doing, you'll get lost or stuck or liquidated, which is the worst situation. The problem is not many people know how to use leverage. You've got to use low leverage and use equity to offset it. So, you know, you shouldn't get liquidated, but people do because they long tops with 50x and just get completely annihilated. I am not Scottish, by the way. Anyone's wondering. This correction is needed, yeah. 110%, because you look at it, right? Look at it. It's disgusting. It's filth. We are getting this again, I feel. The same situation. F2 mining pool are selling and dips have been bought. And I personally believe we're going to go down to this point. I think there's more of a chance of not so much maybe going down there, but I think it's a stronger opportunity for us to go down there to get a much bigger liquidity grab. And if it's slow and if it's sluggish, and if we get a situation like this time last time where it was sideways for ages, this was the previous alt season. So when we talk about a parabolic alt season, the last good one was last year, and it was this period here where the whole DeFi boom went boom. It went from 100 billion, no it didn't, 1 billion, sorry, to like 30 billion very, very quickly. That was a DeFi space when Chainlink went crazy, when the likes of Compound, Maker, obviously Aave and stuff went mental. We want that situation again. What we want is a slow trickle down to this level and go sideways for like a month or two. That is a perfect scenario for everyone, personally, when we're looking at it. Other queues, we've got loads of queues. Possible dip, yeah, we'll see. I'm not buying into any NFT hype, not yet anyways. I think I mentioned this today on the podcast with Operation Crypto on the Crypto Mobcast. I think influencers are going to kill it before it gets going. I think NFTs are great, but I also think that influencers are going to punish it, like the ICO boom where everything just went and then people are going to run away from it. But we need to be careful because people are doing cash grabs on it, like BitBoy, for example, and other people are just kind of puts me off it a little bit, my opinion. Other questions, there's loads today. Do I use Celsius or BlockFi? I use BlockFi. Don't trust Celsius, to be honest with you. I previously said in my video, when Bitcoin dominance is high, sell altcoins in USD. If profitable, yes, that's true. If BTC is going parabolic, chill out and don't sell anything until yeah. So if essentially if Bitcoin's high, so say Bitcoin goes up to 60k and the dominance is kind of trickling up, and you can offload some altcoins because they've gone up in USD prices pretty significantly, there's no harm in doing that. So I do that quite a lot. I put certain things into USD, and then when the market turns around again or it chills out, I will then strategically put it back in, or I'll just keep it and just go and spend all my money doing nothing because it's coronavirus days. What price are you going to sell your BTs? I'm never going to sell it. I will sell altcoins as profit. I'll never sell my BTs because it's an accumulation asset. It's an investment. But if I make money on altcoins, so say for example, let's just look at Zilliqa as a great example here, right? Mentioned before, I was accumulating in May, right? At end of May, no, it wasn't. Early May, end of April, I was looking at it. I was getting my research in. I was getting it all down, and I was buying orders down here, right? So when we think about that, that was roughly about 70 to maybe 90 satoshis. I can't quite remember off the top of my head, but it was in and around there. It was down here, right? But when you look at when I bought in the USD prices, right, just to let you know, it was like the proportions totally different in price. It was like below a cent, essentially. Below a cent up to like a cent, essentially. So when we're thinking about Bitcoin running, well, essentially, it's how many X's has Bitcoin done this year? It's ridiculous, right? When you think about where it is right now, it's obviously up nearly 13 times my money. So when you think about that, cool, yeah, but when you think in the BTC side of it, it's actually a lot lower than that because the satoshis are different. The way that it runs, because it's a different digits and all kinds of stuff like that. Why does that never work? So if we're looking at roughly there again, current prices, it's 233. But obviously all-time high, not so much all-time high, but highs, 400. So it's just the way it goes. But when you start thinking, how many units of Bitcoin can I get? I can get as many as I want. But for me, if you're getting as many Bitcoin units, numbers go up, stock flow ratio and all kinds like that. But they're always going to be different. But if there's going to be a point, if say Zilliqa goes on an absolute rocket boom and it goes way beyond all-time highs or whatever, take a little bit off the table into fiat and then move it into the market elsewhere. Always good. ADA about to pump, probably. Why don't I trust Celsius? It's because it's got a token. I don't. I get why they do it, but I just don't understand why it's got an ERC20 token with it. What's the point? Doesn't need it, in my opinion. It's just designed to make money for the team. It's just one of those things. I just think it could do the exact same as Compound. It can do the exact same as obviously the likes of Maker and Aave, but they have a utility, they have governance. Whereas if you look at the Celsius one, it's just an ERC20. Doesn't really do it for me. Scares me. Reminds me of BitConnect in a way that it's got a token for no reason. You mentioned something about RSR soon. Yes, I do. So let's talk about Grayscale. They've just published this, literally today. And this was literally put onto my Telegram not too long ago. And there's RSR is in here, which in my opinion is quite a shock. I wouldn't have expected RSR to be in here. I also wouldn't have expected sushi to be in there as well, but that's by the by. RSR is one of the newest assets, right? It's also relatively like undervalued, in my opinion, undervalued. And if you think the fact that Grayscale are looking to accumulate assets over the next coming years in the likes of RSR, good example. Chainlink obviously is not a bad example as well for DeFi. Obviously you've got Polkadot in there, Cardano, Aave as well. They're solid assets with a decent amount of stability, whereas RSR is new. It's not done its mainnet yet. It's like that's a big thing, and you got to think, well, Coinbase backed this as well. You've obviously got PayPal links and stuff, so it's pretty bullish, and that's probably why the market in terms of RSR is reacting pretty positive right now. In terms of obviously not so much in the USD price because Bitcoin's pumping, but it has formed a nice little daily candle there, which is kind of showing some strength. But when you look at the BTC prices, we've found an absolute bit of a jolt here. But we've got to get past this black line. This black line is like the king line, as I've mentioned numerous times, which is pretty crazy. But hey ho. Yeah, you're mentioning the Celsius token for usage, but it's designed to lower the fees for loans and higher APIs. But what about if there's a bear market and they can't withstand that level? And then look at Crow token's a perfect example of this. Their prices just nosedived, right, recently over the last 6 months. They had a PR disaster, basically. Their price nosedived. Then what they did was, because they couldn't withstand it, they then cut all the interest rates for everything, so everyone lost out. The thing with the likes of even Nexos as well and Celsius, if they're promising higher returns and higher API for holding the token, they're going to match it. But with the models of where they generate money and exchange fees, they've got to back it in a bear market. They've never done it. That's where the risk is. The risk could be that price dumps because people shit themselves, and then it starts snowballing into a PR disaster when they've got to slash and reduce the amount of APY they get. Whereas on normal protocols, like the BlockFi, it's done via the protocol of the DeFi network. It's not done by a token value. It's just done by the whatever they want in terms of whatever it can. Same with the compound protocol. So when you look at that, the governance side of that's different. So you just got to be careful with it because it's new. It's still new at the end of the day. So that's a problem with them. That's why I also wouldn't put much of my wealth in them neither, because as much as I love earning income and earning crypto, the best one for me is on Ledger Live using the token protocol of Compound. That's the best one. Whereas if you're trusting the likes of Celsius or Nexos or BlockFi to hold your assets, your custody, it's not perfect. It isn't, because they've got it. They've got custodial of it, which is obviously interesting. But risk factors, put a percentage in, but don't put all of it in. Other question. I've got loads of questions today. Got loads. Alt season in different scenarios. So scenario A is alt season happens and this melts further. So already we're starting to see signs of exhaustion and potentially going down. Basically, scenario 1 is we break below 60% levels and we go down to 57 and maybe even lower, right? That's scenario number 1. That could then lead us down to 53, potentially down to these areas, maybe. Who knows? We'll see. It's obviously sentiment based. Scenario number 2 is the dominance doesn't go down, but the total 2 continues going up. New money is coming to the market, essentially. That's also good. It creates a stable economy, essentially, for the Bitcoin network to maintain the altcoin prices, and it's not too volatile. But a sideways Bitcoin's always helpful, whereas if Bitcoin's volatile, this will probably go up because of interest. And there's another scenario where this goes down and the Bitcoin dominance goes up. Therefore, altcoins are getting slaughtered. So you just got to be careful. Yeah, for me, people are saying here the best way for me for staking, the best one is when it's private keys involved. So when you go into the likes of Aave or Compound, you can use your private keys, your own personal wallet. Whereas with the likes of obviously Ledger as well, you can do the same. But on the likes of, you know, Celsius and stuff, it's literally like putting your money onto Binance. You're trusting them, which is quite scary. Any updates on Reef? I'll have a little look in a minute, see what's happening. I think the correction for altcoins, I don't know if it's over or not, but you've got to remember as well, there's multiple different altcoins that are doing quite well due to news. So you've obviously got the Grayscale news there. You've got the hard fork with Cardano coming out. So obviously here, I think this is going to go a lot higher. So most people know this, but you know, I rate this a lot. But I also think that there will be an expiry date in terms of when this pump will end, because it is fundamentally led based off the smart contracts, based off the hard fork and the mainnet launches of that. So it may well dry up at some point. So just be careful with this. Don't just ape into it. This has done a monster rise over the last 6 weeks. A monster rise. If we're talking 6 weeks alone, look at it. I mean, even if we talk from, say, December, right? Start of January, end of December. It was 15 cents. It's now $1.12. Just be careful. Don't just ape into these things, because you could lose. Market's definitely turning around and going pretty strong right now. You know, the total 2 chart's going up again. Dominance is decreasing, and a lot of the BTC pairs are pumping. If I start looking at other sections here, a lot of green. A lot of green. Last hour on CoinGecko, a lot of coins doing well. Obviously, Polkadot's doing pretty well. VeChain's doing all right, to be fair. There's quite a few that are doing well, but if you look at the last 7 days and the last 24 hours even, you know, been pretty strong, you know, doing all right, you know. Kind of scares me how the BTC one's doing. Cool. Teach you the fib tool. Nah, takes too long. People will fall asleep. It's easy. Just go low to high. Yeah, Crow is too centralized. I agree with that massively. I used to recommend them, and then they started doing little sneaky things, little changes. Like the one of the main changes that put me off straight away was changing the amount of stake that you needed. Like, nah, don't like it anymore. Go away. Do you think the drop will be as low as 15 cents? What? No. Well, I say that. It was $1.40 at one point, and then it went down to 1 cent. So you just got to be careful. Always take profit. That is the key factor. Anyways, back to Grayscale, because we do need to talk about this. And I don't know what people's opinions are, but it feels like there's a massive land grab at the moment with Bitcoin. When you start thinking, oh, not so much Bitcoin, but assets as well. We think about MicroStrategy, we think about Tesla, we think about obviously Grayscale. And we're talking about now Grayscale opening all these funds, these sub-funds essentially. It's getting very, very bullish. And that's probably leading to why people want to accumulate assets. Even the shit ones people want to buy, like Doge, for example, right? You got to be careful, right? But when we start talking about like the love of altcoins, essentially, people will love them or hate them. I mean, I don't know if anyone goes onto a Clubhouse, but that annoys me, that app, because you go into the rooms for Bitcoin, it's literally pro-Bitcoin, anti-blockchain. It does my tits in. But at the end of the day, when you think about these, there's a reason why they're looking at these. And I can guarantee now there's some of these ones they'll get bought pretty aggressively. I think Polkadot and the Cardano and stuff like that, I think they'll get bought pretty hard. I don't know really why they're buying EOS. Question that one. But overall, it's bullish for the altcoin market at the end of it. What else is happening? Total 2 charges going. Top gainers, so 15% up RSR right now. DIA is looking quite good. Teso's looking quite good. Cardano obviously looking quite good. Crazy right now. Let's have a little look at Reef, because people are asking. Reef's all right, just nice and chill. Not much chart data, but it's fine. You know, other than that, really, you can't really say much. There's not much charting data. It's consolidating at the minute. That is pump, consolidating. It's nice and chilled. It's relaxed. It's all right. Too many people flap about new projects. RSI is doing really well today. Still a nice uptrend, that. Very, very nice uptrend. Guys, obviously, if you are new, slap a like on the video, please. Much liked. What do I think about Beta Network? It's decent. I covered it back in January 2019 or something stupid when it was like 11 cents. No, I didn't buy it. No, of course I didn't. I'm an idiot. Oh, yes, I need to talk about other news, right? Other news, sorry. So, other news, obviously, someone just reminded me. This one here, if you can see it. Dubai fund, crypto fund, sells 750 million worth of Bitcoin to buy more Cardano and Polkadot. This website, by the way, is called Crypto Panic. It's really decent for getting your news. 55% of miners, this has just come out, saying that they've accepted the EIP 1559, which is the element to potentially, it's not quite written in stone yet, to make the altcoins transactions on the Ethereum network a little bit cheaper, hopefully. And obviously other ones, prices not in, obviously no top yet. I don't think there's a top yet on Bitcoin. No way. And obviously staking pools for Cardano. But if you go on this website, it's actually decent. If you just go into all news, actually just go on bullish news. I'll show you all the bullish news. So obviously ridiculous, really. Bullish everywhere. Absolutely bullish. I wouldn't sell back. I wouldn't sell to jump back in as a holder. Just accumulate the dips. If you see dips, sell the rips, buy the dips. Like if it pops off, sell a bit, but don't consciously try and do it. Got to move your stuff around. Where to stake Aave? Aave, you do it on the website. Just go on Aave website and just go to the protocol. Hook up your wallet and off you go. Yeah, Colin, I think most people don't know this, but I only hold one Ethereum, right? I only hold one. Personally think it's pretty cack, really. I think it's rubbish. I see the sentiment of why people want it, and I will probably buy it at some point in the future, but I think the money is in Polkadot, and I think the money is in Cardano and other projects. That I think we're seeing a lot of frustration with people now with Polkadot, and not so much Polkadot, sorry, with the ability that what Polkadot can do versus what Ethereum can do in the likes of Cardano as well. It kind of scares people that you've got to spend like 80, 90 pounds or dollars or whatever currency you're in to do a transaction. And also, if it fails, you lose it. What's the point in that? Big L. Big, massive loss on that one. So I think that's why as well, when you look at the Binance chain, BNB, how like ridiculous it's kind of popped when we start looking at it. So if I just, I need to add this some more. BNB. So it's like when you start looking at it, where them bad boys, when we start looking at this, like this is monstrous. Like since that chain went live and people got frustrated and just went for it, it's just crazy. So this is why I'm kind of very, very pro Polkadot, essentially because of the way it works. I'm also obviously pro Zilliqa with the sharding elements, and when the Ethereum bridge goes live on there, I think that'll be a game changer too. But at the end of the day, when you think Polkadot and basically when you think about Polkadot and its history, it was created off the back of 2016 when it first crashed Ethereum. And this was before the hype. This was before the first mega bull run. And Gavin Wood wanted to basically roll out Ethereum 2.0 then. We went, how many years later? 5, 6 years pretty much in the making. Crazy when you think about it. Absolutely crazy. Unbelievable. Which is, that's in my opinion, bad management. Questions. 1, 2. We've got loads of questions. Is everything all right? I've not heard any sirens. Yeah, that's a point. I'm kind of worried to think there's anyone outside today. Yeah, Cardano is strong. Let's have a little look at it. Looking quite good today. It's been like the perfect shining light of everything. Woke up this morning thinking, oh, here we go. Here's another dip. But that's just strong as anything, that. Would you swap your largest holdings? No, I wouldn't swap Link to Cardano right now. No. It's already run, man. Just, if the boat's gone, let it go. In my opinion, Chainlink is majorly undervalued right now. Look at that, right? I did a video on this the other day stating that this was a previous alt season. This is where we are right now. We've retraced all the way down to the 618 or 786, I think. Well, actually, we're looking at this 786 levels, tap. Weekly time frame, by the way. If this jolts, this will make more money than ADA or Cardano even. In my opinion, it would. because you got to think multiples. It's a lot lower in value. So if we're looking at current prices, if that goes up to that level there, it's 171% extra Bitcoin in your wallet. If Bitcoin stays stable, that's literally like saying, well, it's like an $80 chain link essentially. That. So you just don't just jump the gun because something's not moving. You've got to be patient with it. That's why you do your research. I'm ready for the biggest alt yet. I'm ready for it. Why do I buy in Bitcoin? Because Bitcoin is the currency. Well, it's I do buy in USD, but I always take profit in Bitcoin. So there's only going to be certain scenarios where, let's just say, for example, an altcoin pops hard and Bitcoin pops with it. I'll take stable currency and I'll just leave it around and then I'll put it back in the market or I'll spend it. Because I live on this stuff. Whereas with my Bitcoin, I'll move a proportion over to grow the Bitcoin and make it work in the altcoins at certain points. It works. It works pretty well. Show me the tattoo on my arm. Oh, it's not quite finished yet though. COVID ruined it. I want the rest of my arm done. I've had it for a while though, to be fair. Ooh, poker wallet. There's the problem with the market is, and a lot of people are agreeing with me this, I think we're all waiting for a big catalyst, and I think Grayscale might give us a catalyst for all season because of the interest. I think the interest of people getting involved is kind of getting bigger and better. When you start looking at the news as well, a lot of it is essentially Bitcoin related in some ways, but majority of it is dwarfed by altcoins because there's more of them. You're seeing a lot of like open interest here on Cardano, ridiculous. Chainlink, newly launched Oracle. So much bullish news. Elon Musk currently under investigation for the Dogecoin tweet. That's not a shock, is it? There's loads of information to go on. But we've got to look at this as well. We've got to respect the fact that the BTC pairs of a lot of coins, some of them haven't pumped yet. They haven't, they're still declining essentially, and they're still finding certain levels of support. And this is what makes things interesting when you see that the dominance, even though Bitcoin is currently high in price and has been quite volatile, it's not in a bad area. Whereas what we would have expected if Bitcoin pumped, and it has been recently, or dumping essentially as well, it would rattle it, but it hasn't. It's been pretty steady, which is always good. I've not read that Grayscale are dumping hard because they're not. The balance sheets are always there telling you what they're doing. Is there an amount of BTC would you like to accumulate? Oh, really? More the merrier. The fees for transferring on Bitcoin network are relatively low versus Ethereum. Very well, about a couple of quid, not much. Not bad at all. In all fairness, it's much better than Ethereum. Plans post bull run, yeah, sit in Bitcoin and chill out. Put a percentage in stable currency, put a percentage in Bitcoin and just chill out. Have a few altcoins laying around just in case. Maybe all Polkadot and the rest of it I'll probably, I don't know, we'll see what happens overall. And I'm not from the West Lakes, by the way, if you want. I don't know why people try and guess my location. It's quite a surprising one. You won't have heard of it. I'm not even in England right now. Thoughts on swapping Ethereum to DOT? I would. Not financial advice, of course, but if you've got a percentage of Ethereum and you like the return of investment potentially on Polkadot, there's definitely nothing wrong with doing that. That's what I did. All my Ethereum literally went into Polkadot. I was like, nah, fuck this, bye. But I just like it a lot. This is a really good video, by the way. Definitely check it out. But if you turn over to the rollout, where is it? There we go. So we're currently rolling out parachains. This is where, obviously, I did a video on this in terms of how it all works. So if you look into how parachains do work, They're doing a whole rollout on it. So this is it here. And it's going to get very, very interesting. Kusama, I'm building a position on Kusama if you don't know that. But overall, when you start looking at this, people have to bid for a limited amount of parachains. If they don't get a parachain, they'll get a parathread. And that could be on a different network. So that could be on Kusama as well. So they'll still get the benefits. But there is like the top tier, essentially. That's a parachain on Polkadot. They've got to bid big. And they've got to win. There's no limit. There's no maximum. It's like eBay, right? Think of it like eBay. You want that prize, you got to bid for it, right? So when you start thinking, the elements here and the elephant in the room is, shit, coins have to buy and bid a ton of DOT to win this. What's it going to do to the price? It's going to rocket. It's going to fucking boom. And we're already seeing here the price action with Kusama because code is on there. People are using utility. They're using the chain. But this hasn't had its slots yet. It hasn't done its auctions yet. So this could go even higher. So I'm building positions like fuck in both of them. Because why not? You know, I think Polkadot will be worth a lot more in the future. In my honest opinion, I think Polkadot could still put, if we're looking at market cap and we're looking at USD market cap here, by the way, it's only 30 billion, right? 30.4 billion, which, yeah, it's a decent chunk. And I remember when this came out, everyone was like, oh, this is overvalued. It's like 4 billion. What? It's overvalued. Well, you know, people are like, it's weird. And I was like, this isn't overvalued at all. This is not even started. You know, when we look at Ethereum at like 200 billion at the minute, this could still easily do a 5, 6, 7x, in my opinion, very, very easily with the parachains alone and moving forward. So that could be fun. But you've obviously got, what can Cardano do? Cardano could probably do the same sort of thing. But I think the fairness of Polkadot's system is better. And it's obviously not as developed. So there's definitely more gains, I think, in that overall. But we'll see. We'll see overall. See what happens. But when you start looking as well at, like, if I go to CoinMarketCap. CoinMarketCap, if you look at the Polkadot ecosystem, it's definitely got some very, very good things on there. I think, you know, PokerStars is pretty decent in all fairness. Oh, look at the state of it. USD prices look like shit. You know, great. This has done very, very well recently, obviously. What else have we got? We've got Mantra DAO, we've got Paid Networks doing very well recently. So it's still this, in my opinion, still the absolute start of the ecosystem. And like, people are already going, nah, it's already run its course, it's already worth 30 billion, but I think it's got a lot more to give. And you got to think as well, how high did Ethereum got $2,000? Well, it's nearly 300 billion. So 10x maybe, who knows? And that's from this current pricing. I bought at like $4. It's great. Really happy with that order. Thought on Spark Point, shite. The reason being, because I get tweeted about it every fucking day. It does my bloody head in. Bags are packed with some heavy gains of altcoins. Yay. Always fun. Yes, Don, thank you for the little tip there. But yeah, I think people are sleeping on it massively because you think, like, there's no maximum bid and there's competition. There's only 100. We know what happens with scarcity. There's 100, and at the end of the day, it's going to get very, very interesting very, very quickly. And they've got to, I think they've got to continually bid as well at certain points as well. They've got to, like, you know, there's certain ones where it's pay as you go, like the parathreads and stuff like that. So there's always going to be certain things that's just going to help that ecosystem generate money and, you know, get faster, good liquidity as well. It's going to be pretty decent, to be fair. I think Cardano will do pretty well as well. Obviously, 300 billion. You know something? I look at Cardano and I look at Polkadot. I see them as solid top 10s for a very, very long time. You know, I've spoken about this recently. I did a video saying about, I'm going to react to it at the end of the year, saying what my top 20 would be. And I was pretty adamant saying that XRP might be not even in the top 10. And it's, you know, starting to look a little bit ropey down there. You know, who can break into this top 10? And there's still shite in the top 10, in my opinion. I think the likes of Litecoin, for example, the likes of Bitcoin Cash, obviously. I think there's much better lower down, which will eventually, I think with the DeFi network growing and getting more stability, I think it will start getting more and more eyeballs. The likes of Aave, for example, may well end up in there. Solana looks pretty decent. The likes of Atom as well might well end up in there. You just don't know how things move, and when they do move, well, you know about it. Pretty scary, really. Linear's alright. I've had a quick look at it. I'm not going to look at it again. I did it on my last live. Thoughts on GRT? GRT's decent, by the way. I do rate it a lot. It's got a decent utility. It's going to get a lot of information coming through it. Bigger the DeFi network gets as well, the better it's going to become. You don't have to ask me every 10 seconds, by the way. Curve. Yeah, Curve could be alright. You know, I don't know what the price of Curve is actually. Let me have a little look. I don't think it's that high, is it? No, it's relative. Well, that's quite undervalued. In my opinion, that's quite. Yeah, I don't know. It's been a lot higher. It's obviously had a few little problems as well in the past. All-time high. $60 all-time high. It's definitely worth an eyeball on. If you rate the DeFi world though, in a certain way, and you back it and you fancy it and you think it'll do all right, there's nothing wrong with dabbling in a bit of it in an alt season, because we all know what happens with, like, you know, when you start thinking DeFi pulse here. This is a really obvious, like, upward trajectory. Obviously, a bit of it's coming down at the minute because obviously a bit of panic setting in. But when you start thinking the lending side of it, and obviously all the DEXs are released, you know, you got to think, well, DeFi is probably going to get bigger. So nothing really wrong with backing a couple of them at least, especially the undervalued ones. I wouldn't go too deep though. I wouldn't go into like the brand new projects which could rug pull. But you know, when you think something that's been out for a while and it's got a bit of time in, definitely worth looking at. Why have you sold your reef for a loss when it's a brand new project? It hasn't got a parachain, hasn't got its platform out yet. It's building partnerships with some pretty solid blockchains that's going to trump most of them because it's going to have low fees and much higher throughput. Don't jump out of a cold horse for a hot one, because you're going to lose out eventually. And for me, long-term reef is probably one of the most solid ones. You know, I spoke about the FUD. The FUD was pretty pathetic. In all fairness, there's been a lot worse FUD out there. There's some terrible FUD about Cardano if you read up on it. Now there's loads of stuff out there. For Chainlink had a lot of short sellers on it. Didn't work though, did it? Thoughts on crypto loans? I wouldn't bother. Not worth the risk. When do you think this bull cycle ends? I reckon we're halfway through. I reckon we're like just about a year into it. At the end of the day, I think they will carry on going. Personal opinion though, I think we don't know what's going to happen, but this is a new. We always talk and compare to 2017, but it's different. It's different this time because we've got institutional investors, which is a bit of a different dynamic, which is scary. But we don't know how it's going to play out. What's Darwin Network? Let's have a look. Sometimes I like looking at new things. It's kind of interesting. Ring. In all fairness, my researching skills need to get brushed up on. Ring is a native token used to pay gas fees for the on-chain, cross-chain services. Ooh. Oh, it's a Polkadot one. Substrate. I just don't know much about him. You know, the problem with my life at the minute is, well, just life really, in general, because everything's busy. The only downside with all this is there's going to be a lot of coins that are going to come out very, very quickly because you've got a new ecosystem. We've seen it in 2017, couldn't keep up then. ICO boom was mental, right? You couldn't get in all of them. But if you are looking for use cases, cross chains are always good. You know, with the ability of Polkadot here. And that's why, you know, we're talking about Reef here. That's why I rate Reef, because cross chain. It's the first DeFi network that's going to go across all chains, which is kind of a big thing. When it's out, obviously, it's not out yet. So when that happens, it's going to be a big game changer. When you look at the likes of Aave and you look at the likes of Compound, it's only on Ethereum. Kind of a worry when you think about it. And when Ethereum 2.0 comes out, looking at mid-2022, what's going to get most of the interest? Well, you can obviously tell. I don't know much about this in all fairness, but eyes on it. If it does get a substrate, like most things, if it does, or if it's built on substrate and it looks to get a parachain, it'll look very, very interesting. But the fundamentals are do your research. I've got a lot of partners, which is always key. But yeah, I genuinely don't know much about it. Where's the... I don't want to tell. Have we got a team? Oh, core team. Can we spot any red flags yet? Ah, the team. Hello. Don't know much about them though. Oh, you got team-wise. Team's a bit weak, but we'll see what happens. Anyways, other questions. What we got? What we got? The parachain auctions are happening this quarter, or maybe starting next quarter. Very, very soon though. It's happening very, very soon. So you'll probably start seeing a lot of eyeballs coming out soon. A lot of people will be shilling Polkadot parachains. Should we have a look at VeChain? I'll go on then. VeChain. Don't hold VeChain anymore. Sold it. It's undervalued though. We're looking at an obvious kind of push to the upside here. Get a nice level, 618 levels. Nice level. Still forming somewhat of a trend on the weekly. It's a bit volatile, it's a bit ropey, but we could see an upward turn. It's still, in my opinion, undervalued. I think it could gain a lot more in terms of Satoshis from the previous altcoin season. That was the last parabolic one, which I mentioned before. Obviously the sideways level. Just keep an eye on it, but it has gone into a nice little level from this obvious turning point. But we'll see. USD prices pulled back quite nicely. Very nicely. 50% level tap and sit back up. Just keep an eye on it. BTC is now pumping. That's not really a pump. We're buying the dip, I think. People buying the dip. By the way, guys, there's 600 people here. Like the video. There's only 191 likes. Basic attention token does have potential. Someone actually just message. That's a good message because they're just rolling out the fact that they are doing a decentralized DEX. So they're removing the ability of centralized exchanges to basically do their own exchange via their own token, which could be quite interesting. So see how that works. But I use the Brave browser. I've got quite a bit laying around from just the Brave tokens, which I've not sold yet. Only reason being because of the fees of Ethereum is ridiculous, pointless. So I'm just sticking with it at the moment. Bought on BSC swap tokens, they're okay, yes. The only reason being they're okay is because they're cheaper to do it. Makes obvious sense. Thanks for the likes, by the way. You've just put on another 80. Great to see. What's my exit strategy? So accumulation of Bitcoin, as many as I can. One Satoshi is always one Satoshi, no matter what the value is. But the main thing is I will have a percentage into stable currency, so I can just wait and chill out and relax. Majority of it will probably go into an earning program, such as the Ledger Live and earn passive income, and then I'll just wait for the. The thing is, when you look at bull markets, alt seasons, and bear markets, alt seasons, right? In a bear market, you're going to get an alt season. In a bull market, you're going to get an alt season. So when I talk about the dominance chart and entries and exits, this still works no matter what. If you go back in time and you look at historically, this still works. If you look at, start looking at buying altcoins, start, looking at selling your altcoins into Bitcoin, and it up and down, right? And you look at the past as well, look at the previous. So if we look at the bear market of, let's just go bear market here, May 18, all Bitcoin, don't buy your altcoins. And then look at basically offloading and selling your altcoins into these kind of, selling your Bitcoin into your altcoin, sorry. And then again, hold your Bitcoin, it still works. So you can always accumulate Bitcoin even if most of the market's going down. When you look at the other side of the fence, so when you look at the total 2 chart and you look at the oh my god, you look at the same situation here, it's like, well, bear market, dying, but the Bitcoin dominance is going up. So it's all about the world of, what do you call it, timing, entries, exits, all kinds of good stuff. Can I have a little look at AVE? I will. I'm not looking at Elrond though because I can't be asked. I really don't rate it. I put a tweet out. This is funny, right? I've put a tweet out 3 days ago now. Name or tag the coin that you think is rubbish or a bad coin. 3 people said Elrond, and they said the same sort of reasoning. I thought this is really interesting. I had a little look. I understand why. So basically, they said that the founder's a bit of a I don't know what the term was. A bit of a know-it-all. Didn't trust the founder, which I thought pretty interesting. Didn't really look much into the founder until then. Then I noticed and looked at him. But I can understand why. The way he talks about it doesn't fill me with confidence. Anyways, AVE looks quite good on the USD chart in terms of potential retracement. I've said this on a few videos. It looks pretty good. Maybe go a bit lower if Bitcoin takes a bit of a wobble, but BTC chart of AVE looks pretty good. This is the chart actually. So I did this chart recently. So if I look at the weekly, get to it. There we go. Cool. So we've had a monster pump, and if we'll go from this low actually. Off trade. Boom. 6 or 8 levels have been tapped pretty much in and around this region. So we may well find a reversal potentially. And if we're looking at, obviously how the RSI is kind of looking, we may well continue the trend going up to the upside as well in terms of formation support. So, we look at a DeFi pulse chart and it's like, oh, it's pulled back, but all the DeFi coins are pulled back. People have panicked a little. I think people have panicked a bit and sold a bit of their altcoins into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin's obviously, I think, we look at the tweets from Michael Saylor saying, it takes a fool to part with Bitcoin, essentially, or what words to that effect. And you've got to be careful with what you're doing, and selling the dips is not the idea. And people were doing it very, very quickly. Panic always goes through. Afternoon, Pinky. Hope you're well. Alt season's been happening for the last 2 months. I think people haven't realized it. When we start looking at alt season, if we're thinking going from 70 down, we've been going down for the last few weeks. That's alt season. It's been dominant. Like, alt season has not so much as a full-on season, but we're actually through it. We're going in it. Most people call an alt season at the end of it when it drops certain points, but over the last 2 months, my portfolio has grown massively in Bitcoin because I've been just buying. There's no defining answer. There's no defining top. But if you know anything above 60, if you say 67 and above, is like start buying the dips, because all these altcoins at the time were low, and you start look at these, look how low they were. This is when altcoins were like, the Bitcoin dominance was at the top. They were low, like Polkadot. Again, low. What you buy the dips. Can I go through Bitcoin? I can't go through it. I'll hurt myself. Bear with. For Bitcoin, this is my setup for Bitcoin, by the way. I think a proper test of this level may happen. So we may go up to 52, 53k and then maybe continue going down. But we'll see. It's a hard market to predict because people are buying things quite willy-nilly at the moment. As in, big money is buying stuff. There's loads of questions today. Always good to get lots. Sushi or pancake? I prefer pancakes if I'm going to eat them. But I think sushi's a better network. People get scared of bottoms. You know what the best tool is for managing dips? Don't look at your portfolio. Don't look. I'm bullish on Reef at 3 cents, yes. The long-term investment Reef. There's a lot of things happening in the next 6 months, so just bought it, sit on it. If it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But it's a bull market. Like, we all laugh and joke and we say this phrase where you shut your eyes and put a dart somewhere. You're going to be successful one way or another. Buy low. Yeah, potentially go up and then back down. This looks like a typical ABC pattern. So we've had a big massive upward uptrend, and then an ABC is where essentially it'll basically find a bottom, and then people buy it, and then they'll find further demand or supply, essentially distribution. They'll sell it again, but we'll see. It needs to correct further. This is, in my opinion, this isn't enough of a correction, small one, but we'll see. But we're getting quotations and people and balance sheets and rumors about Google buying Bitcoin. It's like, oh my god, you know, volume will bring it back up again, but it depends how many sellers are versus buyers. And at the end of the day, we need liquidity grabs. The people with big money are waiting down here to buy it up, and then they'll send it. So that's why I think it'll go lower. But you always get the perma bulls that are like, no, it's never going to go below that price, and then it does, and they shit themselves, and they start deleting the tweets, don't they? Usually fun. Will I convert all my altcoins? Don't know yet. We'll see how I feel. It depends how much money I've made. It depends how emotionally attached I am to it. I have decided I'm keeping Polkadot as a core hold, along with Bitcoin. Cardano most likely will be gone by then. I've made the decision anyway, so Polkadot will be my baby, essentially. But other coins, I'll probably hold a little bit to have a position from a long time ago, and then I will look to add to them if the fundamentals stay the same. But it's all about percentages, it's all about ratios, management of that risk as well. Thoughts on Engine coin? A lot of people ask about Engine. Engine. All right, you know. I've not looked at it for ages though. I actually made, in 2018, 2019, I think, I made a lot of money on Engine, like just off chance because of the little rumor that was coming out of around Samsung wallets, and then it came true, and it's like boom, it ballooned. Did all right, but old levels there. So in terms of this on the weekly, we look at this obviously, because we could look at this, hit an obvious top. I don't know. It's a weird one to chat because that look at that monster. No, we'll do the Bitcoin. There we go. That's better. Bitcoin charts are always easier to chart. You know, you get mental manipulation with the fact of the USD pairs. Weird. Oh, fuck off. Find that favorite bar rubbish these days. Engine looks alright as a potential move up to the upside. A good confluence as well. So if you look at the Fibonacci extensions here, in and around where these body closures, that's obvious. And obviously the top here, if you put your cursor on, literally matching the top. So this could actually be, you know, if we're looking at this low, retraced into a nice little area here. It may well continue the trend going obviously up to the upside here. Because obviously, it's still, in my opinion, still undervalued. So when you look at that, if we want to go a bit deeper on this as well, by the way, if we're looking at this previous level here, we're thinking, well, previous alt season essentially, or whatever it want to be. Oh, for fuck's sake, come on. Oh, there we go. We're looking at that as a retracement. You know, we've still got, in my opinion, quite a long way to go. So obviously it pulled all the way up. It went to the 50%, went down. Obviously found a level of support in and around here anyways, which we know. But we may well actually go a lot higher. You know, we'll see how it goes, but you know, there may well be confluence here. Like, you can look left, like the body closures on the east. I love the fit. Yeah, definitely worth an eye on. I'm going to be leaving soon, by the way, just to let you know. Where's the best place to buy DOT for less fees? A centralized exchange. It's the only place you can buy it anyways because it's not on Uniswap or anything. Come on, King Kenny. You gotta admit, Gavin Wood is a much better person to look at versus Charles. I just prefer Polkadot. I think marketing wise, I think Polkadot's nicer on the eye. I think it's a better branding. I think I just prefer it, to be fair. Just prefer it. Starting to sound like you got paid off Polkadot. I wish, mate. You know, a project worth billions don't go to little influencers like me to promote a coin. The sooner you learn that, the easier life is. Tea's ready. That's too early for that. Far too early. I wish someone would make my tea. I think Pluto can, by the way, I just seen that. I think it's going to balloon. I don't think people have realized how low value this asset is. How many hours do I research that trade a day? 0 at the minute. I don't have time. When you start thinking about doing YouTube videos, RSR is pumping even more now. It's like up 20%. That's ridiculous. Apologies. Let's have a look. Go on. Yeah, so I don't have enough time at the moment. Life's busy. Doing course updates for learning crypto. My YouTube channel is pretty much mental at the minute. A lot of, obviously, people in my Telegram, a lot of people jumping in all kinds of stuff. So that requires time and effort. But the fundamentals of just researching is somewhat impossible with the amount of projects. You're looking at all the IDOs, the ICOs coming out. You're looking at all the other elements of new DeFi projects coming onto Uniswap. It's ridiculous. It really is ridiculous. And that's the thing. Like, there's not enough time. Like, I'm just getting my head around certain ones that are quite mainstream now. You know, it takes ages. It takes absolutely ages. I've looked at Wasp, I've not really looked at it. You know, someone that said before about it sounds like I got paid by Polkadot. Someone from OneChain emailed me today. If anyone's in my VIP group, you would have seen the email. Someone from OneChain wants me to promote OneSwap. Will I do it? Because I don't. But yeah, let's talk about Pluton. Token for a minute, or Pluton. The card, the systemization of the card. This is, in my opinion, megally undervalued. In my opinion, it's a low cap coin. It's heavily risky, but I use a card, and the staking's going live soon, so that could be fun. That could take off, but we'll see. The only downside with it, it's on the Ethereum network. Would I transfer Ethereum to Cardano? No, not right now. Because I think Cardano has got big, massive hype news, and it's pumped massively. So you got to think, how much has it moved? It's moved a lot in the last 6 weeks. I mentioned it before. Whereas you may well find that you might be selling your Ethereum before Ethereum pops. I think Ethereum, mentioned it on a few videos, that this is going to balloon soon. It's going to go for a nice little run. When you start thinking the fundamentals of Ethereum's clear, they're going to be upgrading their system over the next 6 months. It's still, in my opinion, as well, it's still undervalued in BTC pair. Look at where it's been in the past. Still quite low. Forming a nice uptrend. So maybe selling your Ethereum into Cardano, who's had a monster pump, whereas this hasn't pumped yet, might be a bad idea. Might be a bad idea. We'll see. Ooh. Anyways, I'm going to leave soon. So please do slap that like button. Obviously, subscribe as well if you're new. I'll be back on Sunday evening anyways. Do the obvious kind of stuff. That is already. Come on, RSR. Keep going. Keep on going. Cardano could pull back, yeah. Well, look at the move. It's ridiculous. Anything pulls back. Obviously, it pulled back and it's been bought up, but the reason why it's carried on going is because they released the mainnet information for the Mary hard fork. So when you think the likes of Polkadot or other elements around it, they've not got anything live out yet in terms of news. This has. So when you think about realism here, if we're going from November to now, it's done a 12-13x your money to right now, and that is in a very, very short period of time. Things, especially a big cap coin, it will pull back. So you've got to be careful. You can't just ape into it and hope it goes higher. Yes, it could go higher, but the multiples are a lot lower. I bought Cardano at 4 cents. 4 cents. So every time it does a 4-cent move, it's a multiple for me. Whereas if you're buying it right now, if you're transferring your Ethereum over, and yeah, if it goes to $2, you're only going to be gaining about 60-70% move, which isn't enough. It isn't enough to fulfill anything good. And that's a problem. Whereas you got to buy low. So if you're selling a potential undervalued asset, which I think Ethereum, when you look at that BTC pair, is undervalued, it's pulled back quite aggressively. Cardano hasn't pulled back at all. So it's kind of just, if you're holding it, sit on it. If you're not, just wait and chill out or find something else. Check out Yield App. Yield App looks decent, very, very decent. I need to do my research though. So I've seen it. I've seen it mentioned a few times. I've looked at it. I like the idea of it, but I think it's more of a cash maker for me than anything, because you can literally buy it low, wait for it to develop, and then literally scalp profits out of it. But like you say, it looks like a set and forget sort of thing. Looks pretty decent. But yeah, I'd be careful with Cardano at the minute. I think, you know, it's great and everything, and it could go a lot higher, but also you got to think it's news, it's hype, it's driven news as well through obviously all that information coming out. But you know, it could drop, quite easily. Just got to be careful with it. Would I sell it for DOT Ethereum? Possibly. It hasn't moved as much. Ravencoin, yeah, old school. Zilliqa looks all right. Zilliqa's been, it pulled back, it's rescued it. It's still in an uptrend. That's fine on the weekly. That looks absolutely fine. Looks like a bull trend to me. Looks fine. Anyways, I'm gonna love you and leave you. See you on Sunday night. Don't know what we're doing yet. We'll see what the market does over the weekend, but it's good to see the likes of RSR pumping quite heavily today. But yeah, if you're new to the videos, welcome. I like to waffle. You are new as well. Please do subscribe and hit the like. Yeah.